These days, Jess and I don't consider ourselves frugal by any means, mainly because we spend extravagantly in several areas, and we aren't afraid to use the wealth we've accumulated to make our lives better. And if you don't believe me, we spent $150,000 on our converted camper van a couple of years ago. But if I am being honest, there are areas of our lives where we are frugal. We choose not to spend money in specific areas. And I realize there's a common thread for most of the areas. There's a shared motivation for our frugal habits. And so in today's video, I'm going to share several of our frugal habits. And then at the end of the video, I'll share the secret motivation behind all of these lifestyle options. Now, this video is meant to inspire. I don't expect everyone to take these frugal habits and apply every one of them to their lives, but by sharing our experience, I hope it can inspire you to rethink how and why you spend money. Okay, let's get into it. The first area that I want to highlight is grooming our dog. I want to start here because this has been a roller coaster of an experience. Too many people talk about how frugality is the best thing ever, and that's just not true. This was practically forced upon us with the pandemic. For those of you who don't know, we have a golden doodle named Maddie. Those of you who are subscribed to the channel know that she's made a few guest appearances in some of our other videos. One of the nice things about golden doodles is they don't shed. Like, not at all. This is amazing. We have friends with dogs who do shed, and I don't know how they keep their house clean. The downside of having a dog that doesn't shed is that you have to have their hair trimmed. And if we were on top of it, she probably gets her hair cut every 2 months or so. And we used to take Maddie to a professional groomer. The most reliable one that we could find was a couple of towns over, and so it'd probably take us 20 to 30 minutes to get there, depending on traffic. And for about 7 years, we brought her to this groomer. And then the pandemic hit, and they stopped taking dogs for a long period of time. This forced us to get a little creative. I had never really groomed a dog, but was willing to give it a try. I watched a couple of YouTube videos, ordered some clippers, and gave it our best try. And it was a horrible experience. And it lasted about 3 hours, and it was a 2-person job. Jess and I both worked on this for hours trying to cut her hair, and not one of us enjoyed it. Me, Jess, or Maddie. Suffice it to say, there was a steep learning curve, and we almost swore it off completely. In fact, when our groomer reopened, we even brought her back. I didn't think we could do it. But then we realized something important. Not only were prices going up from previous years, but it was taking just as long for us to groom her as it did to take her to the groomer, drive home after dropping her off, and then drive back to pick her up, and then drive home. So the amount of time felt like it was just a wash. So we decided to give it another try, and we ordered some semi-professional clippers that made the experience so much better. This is actually a nice side lesson. Sometimes if you're too cheap, notice I didn't say frugal, but cheap, it can actually cost you more money in the long run. We bought some really basic clippers the first time, and they weren't strong enough to cut her hair, so it ended up taking so much longer. With better clippers, more practice, and even some improved technique, we've been able to reduce the amount of time to about an hour when we groom her, and it saves us about $600 annually. We've also gained the confidence to even cut our own hair. Jess has regularly cut my hair, and now I cut her hair as well, saving us even more time. The next frugal habit that I want to talk about is buying in bulk. Most of my friends know that I am obsessed with shopping at Costco. I practically grew up in Costco, and there have been many fond memories, especially the $1.50 hot dogs. Now, this video is not sponsored by Costco at all, and there are other wholesalers that compete with Costco. We have just chosen to shop at Costco for reasons that I don't really have time to go into in this video. I've already written about it on our blog, so I'll include a link in the description below if you want to learn more about this decision. We choose to buy in bulk for multiple reasons. The obvious one is that it saves us money. In fact, a few years back, I nerded out and estimated how much we actually save on food each year, and we save over $2,000 just by buying food in bulk. This was an estimate based on our spending habits, meaning which items we actually bought and how frequently we purchased them, so it will vary for you, but it was a very reasonable estimate for us. I share a table of the products that save us the most money each year in that same blog post again accessible via the link in the description below. And that's not even considering all the paper products or non-food items, which if you ask any Costco member, they'll be the first to tell you that paper products pay for your membership fee. But saving a couple $1,000s isn't actually the main reason we buy in bulk. The other reasons are that it saves us time with fewer trips to a store, and it takes so much less mental energy. We don't waste mental energy on worrying about running out of core staples, whether that is pantry items or cleaning supplies. I actually don't even remember the last time I ran out of dishwasher soap or laundry detergent because we have them on hand. The fact that it saves us time and mental energy far outweighs the cost. The savings are just the icing on the cake. For this last category, I'm going to group two different lifestyle choices into lowering our transportation costs. Those of you who have followed us for a long time know that a big part of how we jump-started our FI journey was committing to a single car household for most of our lives. Now, we recently diverted from that when we bought and converted our camper van because we now have both a Subaru Outback and our Sprinter van. But for about 12 of the last 15 years, we've only had one car. It's not that we despise cars or hate them, it's just that we designed our lives in a way that we didn't need two cars. It's funny, we even had a brief experiment owning and maintaining two cars before we lived in Boston. It was the year before we moved to Boston and I had started a new job that required us to get a second car. We decided to buy a car used, knowing that it was going to be temporary, with a plan to move to Boston a year later. During that time, we had more problems with the car than any other car we've owned. And it made me realize how much time and energy it takes to maintain a vehicle. This was part of the reason we decided to design our life around public transportation and being a single car family. The second way that we lowered our transportation costs was to live closer to work. We chose to buy a smaller condo that was close to public transportation and close to downtown Boston. While we paid a little bit of premium to buy our condo where we did, we bought a property that would appreciate over time, while also allowing us to avoid having a second depreciating car. And a big reason that we chose to do this is we valued our time. We didn't want to spend 1 to 2 hours commuting to and from work each day. As a result of these decisions around transportation, we saved about $10,000 per year. The New York Times has recently shared that the annual cost of car ownership are now close to $12,000. And by saving this money, it allowed us to invest that much more and gain so much more freedom long term. And that leads me to the secret motivation behind our frugality. We've always been people who have been mindful of how we spend our money, understanding that financial decisions can compound and add up over time, but it hasn't just been for the money. Have you figured out what the common motivation is? If so, let me know in the comments. Don't cheat and fast forward. Let me know what you think. No rush. I'll wait. Okay, actually, hit pause and comment because this is starting to feel a little awkward. I think too many people focus on the dollars or the savings. This is a byproduct, but it's not the real motivation. The real motivation for us is time. We finally committed to grooming our dog when we realized how much time it was taking us to drive to and from the groomers. And we've stuck with buying in bulk because it allows us to spend the least amount of time in the store. And we prioritized living with one car and being close to work because we didn't want to waste our time each day. Time is the only finite resource that we all have. And while we can extend our life by choosing to eat healthy and exercising, there's a limit to how much time we have. There may be times when valuing your time causes you to spend more money, but if you can marry the two together, that's where the magic happens. All of these lifestyle choices have helped us take control of our time, and in doing so, we have saved more money. And as a result, we've invested that difference to build wealth and gain more freedom long term. So if you're struggling to save money, perhaps the best thing you can do is to stop focusing on the money and start thinking about your time. And if you want to value your time, start by watching this video about your real hourly wage. This is such a powerful concept that everyone needs to understand, and this video can help you shift your mindset to better value your time. As always, thanks for watching and enjoy the journey.